Warning, the following conversation features fierce women, once high school acquaintances, now friends, who talk about real topics that most people either try to avoid or pretend don't exist. In here, it can get messy, but it's always the truth. Welcome to The Messy Truth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Messy Truth. We're back. We're back with Becky, Maureen, and I'm Jen. And we're here to talk about the messy truth. And we're going to do something fun. I think we've explained it before that we'll do a couple serious casts. This cast in particular, we've decided, especially since it's summertime, to do travel.
Yeah.
Because God willing, now that this pandemic stuff is coming a little bit more to a close, I guess, if you will. Summertime is the best time to travel, and we've got a little more freedom to come and go, to fly, whatever the case may be. So we thought this would be a fun topic, and we would love to hear where you all go, what you love to do, because, sorry, got bugs out here, I'm outside, because, we've been to, some places and that sort of thing, but you all who are listening or watching or whatever, you've been around too, and I'm sure you've got some great ideas and great experiences that we would love to hear about. So please don't hesitate to let us know your thoughts, your opinions, and where you've been that you've absolutely loved. So we'll kick it off before I even, start, bringing up anything specific. Becky or Maureen, do you want to jump right in, or I can just start out with a question or something like that?
I think it's fair to say, because we're going to need to spend a lot of time on this. We are all Disney freaks.
Oh, Disney.
Yeah.
That's true. And we are going to do, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a separate Disney episode, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'll try not to share all my good stuff then.
Oh man, I had all my Disney stuff lined up too.
Yeah. Let's just share pieces of it. Just pieces of it.
Okay.
Maybe you can just share what we think is the coolest thing about Disney, your top 3 coolest things about Disney.
Yeah. I really don't have much else to talk about because sadly enough, that's kind of all I've been to is Disney.
Then that's fine. I mean, no, seriously, because if that's where you're coming from on this, because that's where you've been, then by all means, talk about it. It's funny that you wanted to bring up Disney because I had the funniest experience happen. If you guys will let me indulge for just a second.
Yeah, please.
If you'll indulge me. All right. So we are going to Disney next week to celebrate, help celebrate my daughter's graduation from high school. And, I love Disney. It's fantastic. I call it the Nordstrom of amusement parks because the service is phenomenal. Everything about it is just fantastic. They do everything right. It's so stinking clean, especially on the Disney Cruise Line. You could lick the floors and not get sick. Not that you'd want to lick the floor, but you could, and you're not going to get sick. They're just amazing with everything.
Disney.
So we went once, sort of recently, but I married into the Disney freak family, as you two know.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're just doing these last minute logistics, and we've got the park reservations lined up and, dinners lined up and that sort of thing. And I'm thinking in my head, all right, we're flying. I don't want to schlep some wine on the plane because where we're staying, we're only going to have 3 park days. The other days that we're going to be there are going to be pool days at Old Key West, or we're going to be pool hopping. So I want to chill. I don't want to keep, not dropping bank at the bar, at the pool all the time. So we're going to have some groceries delivered.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, what I want to know is if I bring some Tito's and I have the deliveries, the groceries delivered besides limes, what about the ginger beer? Because I want to make some Moscow mules. So I call up Disney. The one place where we were going through, they did not have any kind of ginger beer. And I'm like, it's very refreshing in the summertime. I wouldn't want to have one on my balcony here, here and there, that sort of thing. So I call up, and these Disney, cast members are just phenomenal. So I'm on the phone with this guy, and he's like, well, how can I help you today? And I'm like, well, I just want to know if there's a certain item that's at the general store at Old Key West. And he's like, well, what kind of item are you looking for? And I go, this is going to sound pathetic. Looking for ginger beer. He goes, oh, to make Moscow mules?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, how obvious was that? Yeah, actually I do. I said, I just, when I'm hanging out every so often, I'd like to have one in the room. He's like, wow. And he gets into this whole big spiel about, if you use Instacart, they're going to send you to Publix, and at Publix, they've got this brand and this brand. If you use Shipt, they're going to send you over to this other grocery store, and they've got this brand and this brand. Now this one is really good. I'm like, oh, so you know your stuff. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, like, do you have the copper mug? I'm like, no. I go, I've got my like insulated stainless steel one that I'm bringing. He's like, oh yeah, same thing. That'll be fine. There's Disney people. They're just the best. So that's my quick little, my 2-minute, 3-minute Disney story, but they're terrific. It's all customer service.
You know what a Moscow mule is?
I have to show you something.
It's a cocktail. It's so great in the summertime. Tracy Betterton from high school got me hooked on those suckers last year. It's just basically some, there we go, baby. She's got it. She's got it.
It's insulated and it's heavy. Yeah. I've never had a Moscow mule, but now I'll have to have one in there.
It's like just super, like, it's light, it's refreshing. And all it is vodka, and I go easy on the vodka because that stuff, even when it's tasteless and it's like decent vodka, it still can be a little rough. That with some lime juice and ginger beer. And if you want, you can put like actual ginger in it as well to give it like a little bit of bite, which is really, really nice. I'm too lazy. I don't do that. And I think I actually had mentioned that in one of the previous episodes, the unwind one. But yeah, so it's just a nice little refreshing kind of cocktail.
Nice. Disney.
Yeah. You're staying at Key West, Jen?
Old Key West, because my father-in-law a long, long time ago got Disney Vacation Club points and oodles of them, thinking ahead like, oh, our kids are going to get married. They're going to have kids. We're going to need a place to stay. So he got the Disney Vacation Club points, and that is our home base.
Yeah.
When we want to use the points for that particular accommodation at that resort.
Awesome. I did go there once. I didn't stay there, but I did resort hopping when I did a girls trip. And so we took a walkabout, and I ate at, do they have Olivia's? Is that where Olivia's is?
That's our so it's funny because my daughter is bringing her best friend Olivia, and our first night there, we're gonna eat at Olivia's.
Eat at Olivia's.
Yeah.
So I had breakfast there one time. Yeah.
Supposedly, like, if I could eat normal food, the chicken and waffles kick butt. Wish I could eat that. I can't. But hopefully somebody in my family will enjoy that and love it, because that's like their quintessential, meal. But I'll shut up now. Ladies, I'm throwing it out to you. Do you want to talk Disney? Do you want to say what your favorite because we can stay on Disney for a couple minutes and then we can switch gears and do something else. You want to stick with Disney while we're on it?
I don't know. What do you want to do, Becky? You want to go?
I think, I'm willing to hold off on Disney until you come back, but I know, like, Maureen, I think you should share your Disney stuff. I've been to a lot of places, so I got stuff.
Well, I'll say one thing about Disney. I mean, I haven't been to a lot of places, unfortunately, but I have a couple travel things that I like to do, but just on the Disney, oh, there goes Carl. On the Disney realm there. So when I started running about 6 years ago, I started running because I was going to Disney to do one of the princess races, and with a group of girls. So we would call them racecations. And so I've had, is it 2 or 3? Maybe it's only 2 racecations. I'll just say 2 racecations at Disney. And it is one of my most memorable, most fun vacation times. And it's not with family. It was with a group of girls. my Florida girls, Nicole and Christy and Julia, and Laura. I don't know who else I'm missing there. And we've stayed at, the first time we went, we stayed at the Old Port Orleans Riverside, and we stayed at a Princess Tiana room. And we just did the whole weekend. So you had the expo where you went the day before the race, and you seen all the gear that everybody's selling. And we would go to dinner, but you didn't want to drink too much the night before the first race. So then you'd start off the next morning with your 5K race, and you would have to be up. Oh my gosh, I think I would be the first one up. I would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I had to have a shower and I had to have a cup of coffee because I wanted to make sure I would poop before I would go run, because you don't want to be running and have to poop.
God,
That's horrible.
so funny.
So you would have to be on, I think we would have to be on the bus. The buses would pick you up at the resorts, and you would be on the bus by 4 a.m. and we would be in costume. So we would coordinate our costumes. So the first year we went, we all did a version of Minnie Mouse, and for the 5K race, and you are in a corral, and there's different corrals based on your times, how fast or slow that you would run. And we would all corral down to the lowest person that ran the slowest, so we could all start off together, because otherwise you'd be all separated. And so, yeah, it was just completely fun. You would run through the parks, you'd run through Epcot, you'd run, depending on what race it was, if it was the 5K or 10K, or if it was the half marathon. And it was just excellent. It was, and you'd run down Main Street, and all the music is going, and you see the castle.
Are the
And it
parks closed just for the race?
That's right, because the race starts at 6 a.m.
Oh,
And then just as you're ending the race, usually the parks are just starting to open. So you start seeing some of the early magic hours guests coming in as you're finishing your race. And at the end of the race, everybody gets a medal for participating, and then they give you a box of goodies, and there's all kinds of, fun things. And then afterwards, we go back to the hotel, you shower, you eat your breakfast together, we get dressed and put our race medals on, and then you go to the parks and you ride the rides, and every time somebody would see you with your medal on, congratulations, so it was such a girl. I think I wrote a blog post about it. The first one I did, it was such a bonding girls trip. I don't want to say empowerment, but like it was just one of my favorite memories ever, is the 2 racecations that I had. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So much more to talk about that, but I can't, that would be an entire hour of racecation, and I can't do that. So, all right, on to you, Becky.
Yeah, I think we should have, like, after Jen comes back, we can talk about our Disney vacations, but then also I think all of us have been enough. And I used to be a Disney vacation planner when Karen was a baby, and I was like, I needed to stay busy. So I decided to do that. And it totally paid off, because when you're a Disney vacation planner, all you have to do is pay like a $200 airfare ticket to get down there, and Disney pays for you to stay in their best hotels and see all of their parks and see all of their hotels. They take you to the cruise ship, and you learn a lot of tips, like things that most people don't know about Disney that makes your trip smoother. So I think we can I can see us dedicating a whole freaking episode to anybody who's going to Disney. Because I was talking to one of my coworkers, you know who you are if you're listening, DC, those are your initials. She was like, I hate Disney. It's terrible. It's so commercial. It's overrated. And I'm like, no. You need to go to Disney with me, and I will help you see how it is awesome and amazing, and it is really the happiest place on earth. But,
Amen.
yeah, I mean, you gotta, like, come on, you can't hate Disney. You gotta, it's freaking awesome. Everybody there is like, don't you, like, when you walk in, you're just like, when you walk into Magic Kingdom and you're like heading down Main Street and you see the castle, do you not
Oh gosh.
feeling in you like,
From my toes to the tip of my head, to my like toes up to my head, right?
yeah, it's like this
Yeah.
feeling like you just literally been transported to a totally different time and place. Everything's good and happy, and it's just, I just love it, you know?
How about when the train comes in before the park officially opens and Mickey rides in on the train?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is my favorite part.
So I can never talk about Disney without saying this. So up until recently, I went with Kieran to Disney World, and we went in September during the pandemic. It was pretty wild, but it was crazy, but it was very good. But the 3 times I went to Disney World or Disneyland prior to that, my favorite ride was closed for one reason or the other. And my favorite ride is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah.
My favorite ride for one reason, I mean, I love it. It transports you to a whole, like you just are surrounded with, you guys know, it's just amazing. Like
Yeah. Yo ho, yo ho.
encompassed with the pirates, you know? But why I love it is like, I can never go to Disney without getting on that ride, because at the end of the ride, you know how in the where there's the guys in the jail and the dog's holding the keys in his mouth and they're like whistling to the dog to bring the keys to him. Every time we went on that ride, my dad would always like nudge me. He's like, Becky, look at that. Just Walt Disney, he knows how to make a mannequin, like a movie mannequin. And this is like in the 70s when it was that can whistle, and look at his cheeks are moving, you know, and it's still that same mannequin. And every time I go by that, it's like a little like memorial to my dad. I just like have a little moment where I remember him and just think about all the times. And then there's like this one part in Pirates where the guy's sitting on the ledge, the tunnel that you're about to go under. And my dad would be, look it. He even put hair on his legs. Look at the hair on his legs, you know? And so I can never go through Pirates of the Caribbean without like thinking about my dad. So I never miss it.
Yeah.
Aw.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, we're going to switch gears for a minute then, off of Disney, if you ladies don't mind.
Nope.
Because there might be, I'm sure there are some people who haven't been or who have traveled
Or
to other
hate it.
places. Yeah, no, they're legitimately, and that's understandable because it's, you know, it's like everything else in this world. It's not for everybody. It's
Right.
not everyone's cup of tea, and that's completely
Right.
fine.
Not everyone.
Becky's like, then what's wrong with you? But I have this big disgusting bug on my screen. Wait. It's not as big as the cicadas, but which are nice and quiet. They're nice and quiet at night, which is good. I will not tolerate bugs of any kind. Okay. So what I wanted to like think about tonight, or today, whenever people are listening. So when it comes to traveling, city, country, or beach, go.
Beach.
Becky,
Think about it.
Maureen.
What did Becky say?
Beach. Don't even need to think
Beach.
about it.
Gosh, I am so bad at picking one thing. I want to say beach and country. Can I say that?
Nope.
Of course. Say whatever the heck you want.
Okay, beach and country.
I'm beach, but country is not far behind. City would definitely be my last. But man, give me a beach. I absolutely love the beach. Absolutely
Favorite
love it.
beaches. So let's talk about our favorite beaches to visit.
Funny you should say that because I read today Forbes magazine just came out. So when people see this, they'll realize, oh, she saw that at the end of May. There's this guy, his name is Dr. Beach. And he comes up with a list every year of the 10 best beaches in America.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think I've been to any of them, which
Jen,
Jimmy
send
Popcorn.
that article to me. After this, send that article.
Yeah, and I can post it up on the web page as well at some point here.
Yes.
But there are a couple on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. There's one, which reminds me of a funny story. There's one on the Big Island of Hawaii. There's one he listed as Coronado,
Oh,
and he mentions the Coronado Hotel,
mm-hmm.
which, if you don't mind, I've got. So I don't know if you ladies or if anyone listening has been to the Coronado lately.
At Disney?
No, California.
Oh, I was thinking of Coronado Hotel at Disney.
Too. I'm like, that's the only Coronado I know.
No, so my mother-in-law was
No.
just so sweet and kind enough on our trip back from Hawaii to like help us get readjusted at the time. We stopped in Coronado and stayed there over the 4th of July, a couple of years back, a few years back, actually. The beach there is gorgeous. Legitimately, I'm giving him like total props for the beach because it's sick. You put your toes in the sand. It looks very, very dark, but when the water comes and then it recedes, it glistens like gold. I've never seen anything like it. You put your feet in it, the water, it looks like gold fleck. It's unbelievable. I don't know
Wow.
what's in that sand, but it makes it look absolutely incredible. And it's a huge beach. I mean, it's really immense. But the hotel, so we stay there. It's like an icon. People have been going there with their families for decades and everything. It needs a little work. It needs a little something because when I was in the room, apart from like some of the, again, my mother-in-law was just so generous and bringing us there. It was beautiful. But considering, Lord knows what she paid for it, I wouldn't want a black light.
Oh gosh.
What's that line from Guardians where he's like, yeah, you don't want a black light. It'll be like a Jackson Pollock painting. I mean, like,
Oh gosh.
because what I saw, I'm like, holy guacamole. Like, it was just, and he mentioned the hotel and I'm thinking, dude, have you been there like in the last 5 years? But the beaches that were mentioned were beautiful. The one beach that I have been to that I love, and it's not in, he mentions one in Hawaii, actually on Oahu
Mm-hmm.
as well. I guess it's the Duke Beach, and you can see Diamond Head from there. Gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I've been there. But I think my favorite beach is Cabbage Beach in the Bahamas. Oh, it's a runner-up. I love Cabbage Beach in the Bahamas, and it's on it's beautiful white stretch of beach right down from Atlantis. Atlantis is gigantic. Down where we've been before, absolutely, it's small and it's just beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And that beach is beautiful. And then I went once to Harbor Island in the Bahamas, and it's all golf carts, which is phenomenal right there. You get off
Mhm.
you can only get there, I think, by like little plane, like a puddle jumper or a ferry, and everyone's tooling around in golf carts, and it's so beautiful. I loved it. And it's a pink sand beach because it's made of crushed coral, but it's like super duper soft.
Wow.
Yeah, beautiful.
Wow.
That's lovely. Oh
Yeah,
my
I'm a
gosh.
beach girl.
That sounds
Yeah.
heard of. I always thought of, I was like Maureen, when you said Coronado, my mind just went right to Disney. I didn't
Yeah.
anything else.
We were just talking Disney, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything else.
here's one of my favorite beaches. Can you see it?
Oh, where is that?
This is Costa Maya. And this was a Royal Caribbean cruise we did before Kaya graduated. And so beautiful, like, it's just kind of like Cozumel and Grand Cayman, the waters there, it's just warm. The beach is like white and sandy. But here's what's the best part about Costa Maya. The drinks,
Yes.
you can pay like $35 for a pass to the beach. And guess what? That $35 includes all the drinks you want.
Oh, wow.
And obviously,
Very nice.
Kaya and Natalie were not of age, but there is no drinking age limit in Mexico, so they were allowed to drink. But here's what another cool thing about it. There's the cruise. No, sorry. Where'd it go?
Oh, look at that.
We all
Ah,
Nice.
massages. Oh, like open cabana massages. And as
wow.
a service, like, you can charge like $75, $80 for an hour massage. Some people charge $90. These were $40 for an hour massage.
What?
And I'm done. I'm good. I'm getting there. And it was awesome.
In paradise.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
So where are some beaches you would like to go that you haven't been to?
I've never been to Hawaii and I would really like to go someday.
Mm, yeah.
It's cold. I was cold
Really?
when we went. It was late June, and we were Disney at Aulani.
Mm,
We
oh my
started in Maui,
gosh.
which Maui, oh my gosh. I think I could just live there and drive up and down the coast on either side and just eat fish tacos all day and stop and swim and then eat fish tacos and stop and swim. We were in Lahaina. It's so absolutely beautiful. And it was wonderful because I have relatives there and I got to visit with them. So that made like the trip unbelievable. It was so awesome because I hadn't seen them in probably a decade or more. And but it was kind of chilly. We were in the water at one point, and when the sun was behind the clouds, because the Pacific, from what I understand, is colder than the Atlantic, we were like, oh, it's a little chilly, a little chilly.
Yeah, it is.
It's so beautiful.
I think.
And
right?
you know, they have that aloha spirit everywhere. Just super duper. And of course, wherever you travel, I mean, it's also like about the people and the culture and the food, and you know, it all wraps up into that, you know, experience that you get when you're there.
Mhm.
But I know I would love to go to somewhere in the Virgin Islands, I think. Because it's mountains and beach. Like I love the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. It's all flat. I would love to go to one of the Virgin Islands, whether American or British. Although I've been into the ports through one of the like the Disney cruises at like St. Thomas. But that's what I loved about it. Like the views were incredible because you have the mountains and the beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've
I
been to
I
islands when I was in the Marines. We did a job there once, and we were at St. Croix. And funny story that has nothing to do with travel, but one of the Marines that I was with, there was a cruise ship from Denmark that was in, and one of the Marines in our group went and stole their ship's flag. And
oh my gosh.
how it got traced back to us, and our commander, you know, commanding officer came and tried to like question everybody. He had us all out on the beach with our luggage, going through everyone's luggage to find this flag that the cruise ship back. Actually, I don't even think it was a cruise ship. I think it was just like a like a Denmark Navy, you know, ship or something like that. And we all just stood there, and the person who stole it didn't have a thing to worry about because he was smart enough to mail it home to himself the night before.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
So, but St. Croix is smaller than the other ones, but it was really cool. Now, granted, that was in the early 90s, so I'm sure it's changed since, but the waters were just like anywhere where you can go where the water, you can see the bottom. That's awesome.
Totally.
Mm.
Yeah.
That way you know what's going to bite you before it bites you.
You can see what's in there for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
What about
Maureen, where would you go if you could go somewhere?
Well, first I wanted to say I'm not very versed on beaches and islands because I've never been to them. And everybody knows about the Florida beaches, but I love the New England beaches. So my favorite beach at this current time for the last however many years is in Connecticut. And it's actually a state park and a bird sanctuary, and it's called Silver Sands. And so I love the New England beaches because it's just all terrain there. So you have all the rocks and you have shells and sand and trees and beach grass and all kinds of different terrain. And I just think it's so absolutely beautiful. And so at Silver Sands has this beautiful long boardwalk that you walk down from the parking lot. And it's got the marsh on each side and this beautiful tall beach grass. And it walks you out into the beach. And one side and it has this boardwalk that just walks all the way and it connects to another beach, but it's just this beautiful long boardwalk. But the beach itself, one side where you can go out into the water, that's easier to swim. A lot of the younger people sit down there, but when Carl and I go, we go to the other side where you can't easily walk out into the water because there's so many big boulders there, but it's very quiet down there. And that's where I got engaged, and that's where he asked me to marry him. So I love it even more there because of that. But I just love that beach. I just love the New England beaches. I just think they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. And it has this, what do you call it? A sandbar. So it has it at the low tide. There's a sandbar that's exposed, and it walks out into an island. It's called Charles Island, and it's the bird sanctuary. You can't walk all through the island, but you can walk out to it when the sandbar is exposed. So it's just beautiful there. So
Nice.
that's that we go there like during the summer. So anywhere from the beginning of June through probably September, we'll visit there at least 3 times at least. Before the season's out. So it's just like one of those beaches that you pack your cooler and your snacks and I make a jug of mojitos, fresh mojitos, and you pack all the yummy stuff and you just go and you sit and you just chill and you just do nothing but just sit and eat and drink, and that's it. Yeah. So that's my beach experience.
So my other favorite beach is not your typical beach. It's in the Adirondacks, Winnebago.
Oh,
And this is Lake Pleasant up in Speculator, New York. And
Wow.
I was like 5. I think my parents were bringing me here. I worked here in my summers in high school.
mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like what it looks like. You just have this like long path and small, but it's like a kind of like a gated community where you can't get into the property unless you go in there. And so like once you're in, like growing up there as a kid, like once you're in, you could like, there was freedom because you could, as a 5 or well, maybe a 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, you could go wherever you want. You had freedom to just, wander around their hundreds of acres of property because you knew you were safe, and kind of like Disney-ish in the sense that everyone would look out for
Yeah.
you. But just the mountains with the Adirondack air and the beach, the lake has a different sound than the beach, the actual ocean. Obviously it's calmer and quieter.
Yeah.
Still
It's
Oh, that's
funny that
nice.
you bring up the that beach for, I don't know, like personal reason, like, sentimental kind of thing, because now that you bring that up, growing up, my grandmother lived in Rockaway, 5 houses from the beach, in this cute little house, and untold numbers of, summers were spent weeks at a time in Rockaway, on Rockaway Beach. So all these, New Yorkers who know where I'm talking about, it's funny because it's part of New York City. It's actually not even in its own borough.
Oh, wow.
It's part of the city of New York, and it's down from Reese Park, east of Reese Park. And you can actually, so it's a peninsula, and on the one side, it's all houses and, a couple of restaurants and stuff like that, and shops and stores. And on the one side by the Marine Park Bridge, when you go over to the Bayside by Jamaica Bay, you can see on a clear day the New York skyline. It's amazing. Yeah. And on the when you're on the beach side, it's just all beach. And just some of my best memories growing up are on Rockaway Beach. I love that beach. And I also love in New York too, like Maureen was bringing up these New England beaches. And, I don't know if New York is considered that so much, but my dad used to bring us to Heckscher State Park a lot and Fire Island. When you said sandbars, the first thing I thought of was Fire Island. Like I love the beaches on Fire Island, and it's so that's really remote. Like
Mhm.
another great way to get away from New York City and the New York, area, the craziness on Long Island and that sort of thing, and take a ferry, pop a ferry over. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful over there. Love it.
Wow. That sounds cool.
So now that we've established that we're pretty much beach girls, although I do love lakes too. Like, so
Oh,
the
yes.
my segue into the next part of this. So if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? And the reason why I'm bringing this up with the whole lake thing is because I went to Canada once on one of the Disney cruises. It was, through Canada up to Alaska. Oh my gosh. Like, I never really appreciated mountains and lakes until I went up that way. Loved it. And I hope that one day I can go back. They're still closed to Americans right now. Not that I'm planning on going there anytime soon, but oh my gosh, I would love to go back to Canada. What about you ladies? Where would you like to go?
Hmm.
Go ahead, Becky, because I have no idea.
That's an easy one for me, and I'm trying to find a particular folder because I wanted to show you some pictures of it. But the one place, there's two places I would go to over and over and over again. One is obviously Disney, but the other one is Israel. It's like hands down.
Yes. I would love to go to Israel.
Like modern, like Tel Aviv is modern, but then you have like the country up in the Galilee area, and then you have ancient, in Jerusalem, even Jaffa, which is very, like kind of borders. Tel Aviv leads into Jaffa. Jaffa is like one of those towns, and I'm trying to find it so I can pull it up and show you. It's like one of those little, it's crazy historical, and then you have the Dead Sea, which is freaking cool that you can't sink in the Dead Sea. Like, no matter how hard you try, you are gonna float in that. It's just the bizarrest feeling in the world. And the people in Israel are they're just amazing. They're so friendly. For instance, on my first tour, when I was help leading a tour in 2010, our bus driver, and I have to do it because I just love this guy so much. He's just like the best. So this was our bus driver of our tour in 2010. His name is David, and he hit it off. He and I hit it off because he has a daughter that's my age that lived down in Nyack. And long story short, when he would come to New York to visit his daughter, he'd come up state to visit me, or I'd go down to visit them. And when I went back to Israel 2 years later to study at Yad Vashem for a couple of weeks, he was like, "That's during Passover. You're going to stay with us. Come stay with us. It's Passover." And so I stayed with them an extra week, their family, during Passover. And oh my gosh, it was so awesome. Like, I just have to show you this family. This is just the people of Israel that are just like, even though the last time I was there was 2013, these people took me in as family. And so I stayed with them a week in 2012 and then again in 2013. And so anytime I went back, the V was like, "If you're coming, you have to stay with us extra time." So I would always extend my vacation, the tour for me. I would leave a week later than everyone else so I can stay with the family for a week and then experience Israel the way, an Israeli experiences Israel. And it's just so cool. It's just so cool there. If you ever get a chance to go, people worry about the safety, and I know there's a lot of stuff going on in Israel right now, but I never once, the 3 times that I've been there, I've never felt unsafe there.
That's awesome. I would love to go there. And it's funny that you say that about the people. That makes such a huge difference. I went to Paris with one of my closest friends,
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty aloof, pretty cold.
Yeah. Not crazy about
People not great. But Italy, on the other hand, couldn't be nicer. Ireland couldn't be nicer.
Oh,
And I just, I would love to go to Spain too. I would love to go to Spain.
yeah.
And there's some islands off of Spain, and I would love to do that. But Italy, I loved it. People, again, they make a huge difference. Now I understand when you're on vacation and you're staying in a hotel, they're being, it's hospitality, like it's their job to be nice, but you can oftentimes tell when someone is really has their heart in it, or they're genuinely trying to make your experience a memorable and pleasurable one. And and sometimes, if you're staying someplace like really expensive or whatever, you're wondering, like, are they being paid to like kiss my rear? Like, what's really going on here? But I mean, genuinely, like when you see meet these genuinely kind individuals who just want to go out of their way for you, gosh, it makes all the difference. It really does. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I want to show you real quick. That these are pictures of Jaffa. I mean, just look at that architecture.
Oh, wow.
That's beautiful.
And then here's another one. Like, this is just, it's just beautiful, and it's always sunny. I mean, actually, sometimes it's a little chilly, but I mean, like, you can just meander through, little, I don't even know if they're called halls or whatever, but they're just so cool. It just like takes you back. Like, you just have history and modern and nice people and great healthy food, and it's awesome. Like, I had a friend who, when she turned 50, she said she wanted 50 days in Israel for her 50th birthday, and she got it.
Oh my gosh.
I've been like telling myself, you should get 50 days, just get 5 days in Israel. That's not going to happen. I'm turning 50 next week, and that's just it's not in the cards for Becky. But someday my sister and I, like, we promised each other we're going to go backpacking through Israel, and yeah,
That would be awesome.
it's really cool. Highly recommended.
Yeah, I have found that even, overseas, people outside of the cities are genuinely just a little bit, kinder. I mean, in Rome, a little aloof, not like Paris. And I'm not saying all Parisians are awful or all French people, nothing like that, because no way. I've met French people who are absolutely lovely. It was a tourist thing. They can spot you a mile away, especially if you're wearing sneakers and shorts, that sort of thing. Like in Venice too, I felt like I was sticking out like a sore thumb. Shorts and sneakers, I'm the American over here, but Jimmy Crackhorn, whatever. But if you're gonna treat me like that, then like I don't need you around. Like, give me a break. Like, we're humans. Be decent. But speaking of Venice, the one thing, man, if you are downwind on a certain day, holy cow, the sewage, the smell is unfreaking believably nasty. Beautiful place, totally cool, great experience. It's a little rough when you're downwind. They have exhaust vents in different parts of Venice, and it's got to go somewhere, and the wind is going to take it, and you just don't want to be downwind because all that sewage has got to go somewhere.
No.
But generally speaking, the people there, I thought, were, mostly very nice, a little bit nicer than in Rome, I thought. And for people with who have to eat gluten-free, very easy to do it over there. Very easy in Italy, and very easy in Ireland, for sure. I'm probably going to let you all talk because I've been dominating this. Plus, I'm outside, so there's a siren, and I don't want that to get picked up.
That's all right. I have Carl singing in the living room, so you have sirens, Carl's singing.
So the sewage that we talked about reminded me of when I went to China in 2014 for work. And China, some places in China are like amazing historically, like the architecture, the Summer Palace, like, you know, like standing in Tiananmen Square was kind of surreal to think about what happened there. But then like, so I had to just tell you, when I went there, because I knew I was going to be speaking at certain schools about American education and what you need to do to get into an American college. And because we were being hosted by the Chinese government, we were going to have all of our dinners like hosted, like some person from the Chinese government was going to be there at these dinners. And in China, they want you to try their authentic Chinese food. And stuff is coming out on the table, and I'm like plain Jane. I'm like, just give me a hamburger, a chicken, you know, like I don't really eat red meat much, you know, like so I'll have a taco or some pasta or whatever. And the stuff would come out, and like the claws were on there with the nails and like the eyeballs. And there was something called snow fungus or something like that. And so what I decided to do, because I have a very sensitive stomach, and there's another story about that. When Maureen talked about her race, I have to tell you guys in a private conversation, it's too messy for the messy truth. But I have a really sensitive stomach. So I took my iPhone and I put in my iPhone, I have a food allergy, and I had Google translate it into Chinese, into Mandarin for me. And so anytime people were trying to push food on me at the dinner,
Brilliant.
I would show them this thing in Chinese that said,
Brilliant.
I have a food allergy. Well, I was in Chengdu for 2 weeks, and then I was in Beijing for a week. And then 5 days into Beijing, somebody was like, nobody bothered me after I showed them this thing on on my phone. They just all like backed away, like, okay, you know, and because they didn't speak the language. But it was like, I had spent 2 weeks in Chengdu, and I was moving up to Beijing. And when I got to Beijing, I showed it to somebody, and I think it was my host. The host came over. He's like, Becky, that does not say you have a food allergy. It says you have a skin disease. So I was showing this to everybody at the dinner. and then I started to replay back, like, what? Oh, that's why everybody would back up, and they would do this horrible.
Thank God it didn't say that you had an STD.
I was just so glad I was like a 3-hour plane ride from Chengdu, and never to see those people again. And they were probably just like, why is this woman telling me about her skin disease? But I did develop food anxiety while I was there, because every night when we would get ready for dinner, my friend and I, Bonnie, she went with me, and the principal of our school went. I just would get so anxious over what was going to be served and how I was going to get out of eating it, because I would have to go up and speak in front of crowds, like in front of an audience, and I couldn't have like my stomach interrupt the event, you know. It did. And my first speaking engagement, I had to like pause everything, and then you have to go to a freaking Chinese squatty toilet.
Squat pot. It's a squat pot on the floor.
I went to Taiwan, squatting over a hole, really. But
yeah.
So China is one place it was cool, very cool to be able to say I've gone, but no need to go back there ever again. I'm curious where you guys have been, where you've never needed to. You just like, nope, don't ever need to go there again.
Taiwan.
You've been to Taiwan?
Yeah, for work. And it's funny because when you said the squat pot, I'm like, I don't know exactly what she's talking about. Well, just backing up for just a quick second. Is there anything much worse than getting food poisoning on a trip? Oh, I mean, oh my gosh, it doesn't ruin the whole trip, but man, it can really. Yeah, it happened to me one time. I won't get like too specific and like gross everybody out. But let's just put it out this way. Went out to dinner, great restaurant, had been there before, awesome food. Lobster was incredible because I can flip and live on I just love seafood. And 2 hours later, back at, the place we're staying, boom, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom right now. I'm in there. I don't know how long. While I'm in there, I'm, going, flushing. That's going on for a while. And then I hear the rumbles of thunder coming from outside. And because we're, on Paradise Island, everything's like kind of concrete block. So it's like twice as loud and it's getting louder and louder. I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess there's like a storm rolling in. It's like, midnight or whatever. And I'm like, all right, there can't possibly be anything left in me. So it was like one last flush. And then the power goes out. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Oh my gosh. It's the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling.
Oh my gosh. I had
okay,
so
great.
many.
I getting away from the stupid meal, but like, blah, so gross.
I have so many disgusting stories to tell you about that, but they're not on vacation. They're just from running, and then one that happened in Kohl's, but we'll save that for another time.
Oh, we should just have like the messy episode of the messy because I have plenty of stories that are just horrifying. They're horrifying in the moment, but I find them hilarious the second it's over.
Yeah.
Right.
So funny.
When I was in my racecations, on the other end, the pee-pee side, I have such a weak bladder. I always had one before Rebecca was born, and then after Rebecca, forget it. And so I had for the mini race, I had made myself this big red tutu, and they nicknamed me PP Tutu. So I won't tell you why, but I'm sure you can imagine. And that was, they were looking for me everywhere when we would get separated, and it was like, where's Tutu PP or PP Tutu? Yeah. So,
Oh my
but
God.
anyway,
So
that's a
Maureen,
different,
where have you been that you're like, no, I never need to go there ever again?
gosh, this is really just not my strong suit. I don't really know. I haven't traveled many places. Kohl's when I shit my pants. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I don't know.
Oh, wow. Hilarious.
Yeah, my rough experience was in Taiwan. Various reasons, and not for nothing. I don't know why PETA is all over people here in America. I mean, I do know why, but oh my gosh, those wet markets. The stuff I witnessed, like I was practically in tears. But
I don't think I could have handled that. Oh my gosh.
Horrifying. So
Yeah.
apart from the fact that people are going in there and they're paying money to drink snake's blood, okay, cultural thing, fine, whatever. What they're feeding the snakes, these big, beautiful white rabbits stuck in cages, terrified. I'm like, that like literally broke my heart.
Yeah.
And then what they were doing to turtles, I'm not going to say it because
No, please don't.
like I was crying. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this is supposed to be a work trip. Like, why are you breaking my heart like this? It was horrible. And again, you get separate some of these things because the Taiwanese people, beautiful, lovely, so kind and gracious. But some of like that was completely unpleasant. And as much as I love ginger, smelling it every day on the streets constantly, I got home and I was like, yeah, I don't want to touch ginger for quite a while because it was just too much of it, like all the time. That was a little much. So that might be like the one place. Plus there was such a language barrier I found. Certain countries, you can get away with it. They've got some English or whatever. And I try to pick up languages and that sort of thing. That was tough. That was really, really, really tough for sure. But speaking of horror stories, so there was this is not a horror story so much, but like a quick little travel story. When my mom took me to Ireland a couple of years back, we I don't know if you guys have ever lost luggage. oh, had to take a connecting flight. So we flew out of Reagan, went to Boston, and it's like super quick and easy to get to Ireland. Ireland is cheap, like overall, like prices of food and everything and getting around, like so cost efficient. It's great. And it's quicker to get there than it is to California when you're on the East Coast. So we're in the airport over at Boston, and I happen to look out the window and I'm like, huh, is my luggage? Or no, I think it was at Reagan. I'm like, well, I wonder why it's over at that terminal, which is going to Florida and not
Oh my
Boston.
gosh.
That's my luggage. Like, and I knew it was my luggage because it had a distinct color with a distinct luggage tag. I'm like, all right, here we go. So we got on the flight and I said to the flight attendant, we were already running late and they were just shoving people on. They didn't care. I won't say what airline it was. It was awful. They were so rude. Get on, get on. And I'm like, but you're not supposed to board for another 25 minutes. She's like, no, we want to make good time. Just get on, just get on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. We get on the plane. I'm starving at this point. I haven't eaten in 6 hours because I figured I'll just bring some bars with me or whatever. I want to eat my bar. It's got peanut in it. We're on the flight 10 minutes. We get an announcement. Excuse me, passengers. We have someone on board who has a severe nut allergy.
Ah,
Dang it. I'm not going to be able to eat for the next 4 hours. Whatever. I'm not going to eat something and make some poor kid die because of the stupid peanut thing that I've got, whatever. We land, of course, no luggage. So we're running around Dublin and it was hot, and it's never hot in Ireland, like ever. It rains, it's chilly. So we're running around and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to buy some t-shirts for the girls. I ended up wearing one of them to bed with like no blankets on, and I can't sleep with no blankets. I need to be like cuddled up and like, as much down as possible. The window was cracked. They got fans on in every room. So that was kind of nutty. But again, they were so nice and it was like a fun adventure. So it's like, no big deal.
no big deal. I
No big deal.
have no clothes, no toothbrush, no underwear.
I thought I had, because I was like, God forbid, what if something happens to the luggage? It took us 2 days to get it back. And I was terrified about that. But because I'm the panic queen. So I panicked. I'm like, we're never going to get the freaking luggage back. But I had my toothbrush and a pair of shorts because I'm like, I looked at the weather forecast. I'm like, it might get hot. So good thing I had that. My poor mom had like next to nothing. So the t-shirts I bought for my kids, I was wearing that to bed, sweating in it every night.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But
so I did go somewhere else, but not out of the country. Well, Becky, I've been to Nashville too. I know you were just there, but I went to Pigeon Forge in Tennessee. So that was fun.
What's that?
Yeah. And that what I didn't like about it was Pigeon Forge Island. I went to Dollywood. So that was a lot of fun. And Dollywood was, to me, like she was trying to bite off of Disney World or Disneyland a little bit. And hold on, my cat's attacking my other cat. Oh, okay. And but Dollywood was very clean, and I had a really good time there. But Pigeon Forge Island, I didn't know what to expect. Even though I looked it up, I was just imagining this island, but it really wasn't. It was like concrete paradise. But it was fun. There was lots of there was pretty water fountains, and Paula Deen's restaurant was there, so I got to eat fried chicken. That was great. But the fun thing was they had a moonshine place, and you would do a flight of moonshine. Instead of a wine flight, it was a moonshine flight. And so we were waiting to get into Paula Deen's restaurant, and we're like, oh, we'll go over here and do a moonshine flight. And so you have it lined up, and I don't know how many. There was definitely more things of moonshine than there would be of wine. And the first one I took, which I would feel like they would make that the last one, tasted like lighter fluid. And I thought I thought I was going to honestly puke. I thought I was going to puke. It was pretty toxic.
Wow.
And then they got better after that. And then I could hardly walk out of the place. And I had to go eat fried chicken and mac and cheese after that. But overall, Pigeon Forge was fun. But if I was to go to that place again. I didn't like the strip of hotels and stuff. I think I would have liked to stay up in the Rocky Mountains. That would be fun, of Tennessee. Right? Rocky Mountains, isn't that what's in Tennessee? I don't know.
I would love, yeah, mountains. Oh, I love mountains. I would love to go out to Colorado and Utah and all that.
Yes. I'd like to
But,
go to Norway. I
You know,
think
Yeah.
that would,
Norwegian and half Irish, and I've not been to either place, and I really should. I feel guilty listening to Jen going to Ireland, and I have relatives that live in Norway, and like I guess there's flights to both countries from Stewart.
wow.
Oh,
I
you
should.
got to take advantage of that.
I think that I know that I am part Irish, and I think that I have Norwegian too. And I would love to go to Norway. I don't know. I'm going to claim I am Norwegian. I don't know if I really am, but I think it would be really cool to be Norwegian.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to start to wrap this up a little bit because we're about at the 1 hour mark and it's about that time.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I just want to say thank you, ladies. Thank you to everyone watching, listening. Thank you so much, Becky and Maureen. We at the Messy Truth, we love you all. I don't know how many all is, but we're just starting out. But thank you from the Messy Truth. We appreciate your time and any kind of comments or suggestions you'd love to make. We'd love to hear. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye, girl.
Bye.
Bye.